Have you been learning to vibe code and create your own websites or applications using ChatGPT or Claude Code? And now you're thinking, I've created this beautiful little application. How do I host it? In this video, that's the problem we're tackling. Let's get into it. Let's have a look at a couple of landing pages that were created using very simple prompting, and this was all done in the previous video. And it shows you how with 3 simple prompts you can make beautiful landing pages. You can even go into concepts like modifying them so that they have a bit of a Christmas look and feel. We've got some animated snowflakes. I even took this over to a friend, readapted the company to his brand, which was more as a lawyer, but reformed it so it was in the style of the Smurfs. So we took his legal information, we converted it into a Smurf landing page. So this is all looking great HTML, great styling, but now we want to host it. Now, if you're actually looking for the code for these pages, you can find it over on this GitHub repository, which is the AppyDave app a day. It's number 3, and there's also a link to the video in the description. But what we'll do is we'll look at the website we're doing today, and it's for a business called Support Signal. I've taken one of the templates that we had there. This is not the final way that I want the website to work, but this is a simple landing page that I should be able to host really quickly. And I've got it in both the widescreen and we've also got it in a mobile friendly version as well. So let's have a look at the plan of action. And what I've done is just had a quick conversation with ChatGPT to come up with the basic ideas that we're working through today. And I will go through the prompts so that you can adapt it to your situation. But essentially, I just wanted to work with a simple HTML file and a logo file. I didn't want to do more. I gave it a domain name that I would like to work with, which is the supporting signal. And I've decided, because I want it to be free forever at the moment and very fast, I'm going to use Cloudflare Pages. I've talked about it using the Cloudflare DNS for pointing to the actual domain name. I've noted where the actual repo is and also where the files are on my computer. It's also looked at the files and given a structure. So we got the structure, the index file, the logo, and we'll have some sort of a README document. Now, as we go down, we've got this step-by-step implementation plan for putting it into a GitHub repo. And one of the things I've done ahead of time is just created the repo. So the organization has been set up to be called Support Signal. And I've set up one repository at the moment called Support Signal Placeholder with a license and a README file in it. And so this information that we got here should allow us to link the local directory that we've already done the code from in the last video to this remote repository. After that, we'll look through the steps for setting it up with Cloudflare hosting. Now, if you wanted to use something else like Vercel, you would change the prompts that I'm going to show you that came up with this particular document. You really adapt the prompts to the situation that's facing you at the moment. Now, in my particular case, I'm also using GoDaddy, so we've got information here on how to set things up. And one of the things is, as I go through this might not all work, so I will use ChatGPT to fix problems on the way, but at least we've got a basic plan of action to get started. So we'll push our local code to GitHub, but we'll set up Cloudflare Pages and connect it to our GitHub repo. We'll set up the Cloudflare DNS. After that, we'll update the GoDaddy name servers to point to Cloudflare. And lastly, we should be able to change code anytime, redeploy it to GitHub, and we'll see whether this is going to update live as well. So let's look at how you would come up with this for yourself using a tiny bit of prompt engineering. So if we go to the very top, I just started off with, if I had a raw HTML page, how would I publish it to a website? I do own the domain name. I just need something very simple and free and easy. You may want to ask me questions along the way. Now, most people would probably go with Netlify, and I didn't want to do that because I think there's more benefits if you want to host a lot of websites, you want them to be fast, and you don't ever want to hit any usage caps. So this is the reason I've picked this one in this case. Now, it's asked me 4 different questions. It wants an answer. I've used the speech to text, so there's a couple of problems, but essentially it's saying I use GoDaddy, I want to host the CSS and 1 or 2 images. I'm comfortable with GitHub and I want something fast. I prefer something that I can just add a simple package JSON and take the current project to GitHub and deploy it. So there's not much in the way of good grammar or even accuracy, but it's worked out that using GitHub for the domain, comfortable with GitHub, HTML, CSS, want fast and easy access. It's come up with the best option being Netlify in this case. I decided I didn't want Netlify, I want Cloudflare, and it's come up with basic benefits analysis. So this is great, reasons to switch. And so I've just given it one more statement, which is give me the full implementation plan. I said I want it for Cloudflare. I've told it where I'm putting the code on my computer. I've told it the files I have access to. I told it where the remote repository was. And so now we have the document that we're going to talk through for the rest of this video. Now you can see that the first step is to push your local folder to a GitHub repo. So what does that mean? So what I'm doing at the moment is taking us down to Visual Studio, where I've got the index file for the website. Now, the way the website looks at the moment is it's the one generated from the previous video with a little logo up in the top left-hand corner. Now, what we want to do is take all of the files that are here and put it into this GitHub repo that I've pre-set up. Now let's go and get a copy of our script that we want to use to push those files, and it's all commented out here what it's going to do. Step into the current project folder, initialize the local Git repo, add in the remote one that we've already set up on GitHub, create and switch to the main branch. After that, we've got this little statement here, merge the remote history into the local. What we're trying to do is make sure they both come together correctly, because we've got some files on the local. We've also got a couple of files on the remote, such as the README file and the license file. After that, we can make sure all our files are in our local commit and given a nice message. And after that, we can push it. So with that, we select all the information. We head on down to our terminal and we just paste it in and see how it goes. So it's finished. We can bring up our GitHub repo. And if we hit refresh, we should have a new bunch of files, and we're now up to 2 commits as well. And it's the initial HTML version merged with the remote. So the next thing we want to do is set up hosting, and we're doing it on Cloudflare Pages. We've got the URL right here, and I've just brought it up. And what it's saying is that we need to go to the pages and create a project. So if we come up here to the add button, there should be an area called pages. We'll click on that. After that, what we want to do is import an existing repository. So we'll click on this button right here, and we'll come down to this button here, press connect GitHub, and I've got a lot of organizations going on here. So we'll just go to the very end. We should have one called support signal. We'll click on that, and I'm going to use all repositories. I'm going to need to put in a passkey. So I've got my GitHub organization and repository, and we've got more instructions here, but let's just go with the begin setup, see what we do next. And we can leave the preset framework to none, the build command blank, and we just need to put in a dot, and we'll hit save and deploy. It's starting to deploy the website for us here, building it. And the instructions have told me the URL, but we're best off clicking on this button right here, and let's see if our site loaded. It has, and it's incredibly fast. This is one of the benefits of Cloudflare CDN. So the next thing we want to do is connect our domain name, and this is the domain name we want. We'll go and copy that, and we'll head over to the dash.cloudflare. From here, we've got the domains tab that we can go and click on, and we can then search for an existing domain. Now, because I have set this up, we should be able to do a quick scan on that. It's asked us for a plan. I'm just going to go with the free one for today. So we've got our DNS records here. There's this little message saying that we need to complete the instructions in the overview page. When we head over here, we've got these instructions. I'm using GoDaddy, so I can log on to that. It says make sure that your DNS is turned off. When I head over to GoDaddy, and we can see the DNS management for support signal here, I click on to DNS sec right here, and it says turn on, so it must be off at the moment. So next we're going to come down and grab the name service where I'll click copy on the first one. We'll go back to GoDaddy. We'll go and click on the name service tab right here. We've already got 2 here that were done by GoDaddy, but we're going to click on change. I'll use my own and we'll paste the first one in. We'll come back, we'll click on copy for the second one. We'll paste that one in and we'll hit save. Now our website is configured with Cloudflare. We've got supportsignal.com, but if I try and access the site, I'm still hitting a landing page on GoDaddy. And there's one other thing that we need to change, and it is available to us in the documentation we were just looking through. And that's that these DNS records also need to be deleted. So if we come down here and we look for the 2 that are sitting here, click on that one and press delete 2 records. Let that go. Plus we'll take a look at these CNAME records. So this one we're going to keep, and the one below it we're going to edit, and it's going to change related to the information that's right here. So we'll take that information, come on over to here, paste it in without the word target, and it's just a placeholder. And I will take that information one more time and add a new record. We'll set this to a CNAME, put an @ and we'll paste this information in and hit save on that. Now there's one more thing we've got to do, and it's a little tricky to find, to be honest. So it's the go back to pages, your site, custom domains, and you would think it'd be clicking on here, but it's actually under this compute workers. We can now click on our website, and we have this little tab up the top called custom domains, and I'll just copy the information here, set up a custom domain, paste it in and press continue, and we'll click on the activate domain name button. And lastly, we'll see if it works. We'll click on this here. And lastly, we will take this domain name and put it into a new browser. And it looks like the website is now running. Now that we have the website up and running, we should test this last capability, the auto deploy, whenever we do a git push. And I think the best way to do that is to go and take the title that we've got here, and we will go down to a terminal where I'm just running Claude on this particular folder and putting this prompt. And I'll just say, can you come up with a simpler title in the hero? This one's too long, and we'll paste the one that we had there. And let's see what it comes up with. And we'll go with option 1 in this case. We're seeing it alter the HTML for us right there. And lastly, I'm just going to ask it to create a little commit message, which is just what the change has been. Then I will ask it to do a commit, and after that we'll do a deploy. Once it deploys, we should see an automatic update to the website. Make sure we add our file to the GitHub repo, say yes to, and we can see the differences in the code here if we look at the old version, and here is the new version, which probably needs a little bit more formatting. So I'll just quickly fix that by just putting in, can you put in a new line between terms and compliance? After that, I've asked it to commit and push, and if we hit refresh on the page right now, we should see a change. And there we have it. So that brings us to the end of deploying this particular website which we created in the previous video, just using a little bit of prompt engineering. And at any time we can make changes to it, as you saw. And each time you push the code to your GitHub repository, it just makes the changes happen automatically. It's fast, it's free. Anyway, I'm AppyDave. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video where I'm continuing this journey of vibe coding various aspects of the application development process.